Hello everybody, today we are going to talk about multidimensional arrays. Let's start this topic from two-dimensional array, which are sometimes called bidimensional arrays. You can imagine two-dimensional array as the array of array. We talked in previous lesson about one-dimensional array, and now we know that the array like that is some kind of container, right, for variables of the same type. Let's look at this scheme. And I would like to remind, of course, that arrays in C++ are numbered from 0. And look, when we create typical one-dimensional array, for example int x, which size is 4, we are saying something like that. Let's create a container, right? So this thing, a container, one container, that will store what? 4 variables. One variable, second variable, third variable, fourth variable, right? So we have a container that can store 4 variables of the same type. They are next to each other. And each element in one-dimensional array, of course, is called variable. So we are creating a container that can store elements, and elements here are called variables. Okay. When we create a two-dimensional array, we are doing it that way. Int y, which is of course type integer name y, and after it we are saying that we want to create 3 containers, arrays, right? And each of that container will be able to store an array again of 4 elements, variables. So as you can see, that is the first container that got created, second container that got created, third container that got created, right? And inside that containers, we have an array. One array, second array, third array. And each of that array can store 1, 2, 3, 4 variables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So I draw here something like that arrow, and if you want to get to that value here, you have to write something like y11. When I write only y1 in brackets, it means that I want to choose the container number 2. So that guy here, right? y11 means that I want to get from container number 2, so I'm choosing the container number 2, an array, so I'm choosing the array, that 1, 2, 3, 4 variables, right? And I want to find second variable. I want to find value that is stored in a variable number 2, so that guy here. Okay, so in two-dimensional arrays, we store inside an array just another array. Okay? Okay, let's create two-dimensional array here. So, for example, let it be integer and let's call it by array. And let's make size of that the same as here, so 3 containers that can store arrays that we have size 4. Okay, and now let's check, for example, what is inside something like that. For example, here. Of course, there are random numbers because we are just allocating memory, right? The same as we are doing with the variables. So we have to assign a default values here. We can do it very fast that way. Now I've just assigned to all that variables right here 0. As you can see, now we know that everywhere there is 0. If you wanted to have different values in elements, we would have to use something what is called loops. We will learn them in next lesson. So right now we we could only do it that way, and we could assign only things like that. But in next lesson we'll learn about loops, and we'll be able to do it very fast, almost instantly. Okay? And I like to also tell you now how are working addresses now. Let's check address of that guy here. Address of that guy here. One, two, three, and now 1, 0. Okay, and you just continue, right? Let's compile it. As you can see, address of by array of index 0 is the same as address of by array 0, 0. And next addresses are moved by 4, right? 0, 4, A, C, and again 0, and then it will be 4, as you can see, this is also a space in memory which is continuous. We can create multidimensional arrays, which means that we can create many dimensions. I could do something like by array of, for example, 2, 3, 2. That's okay. I can again do more dimensions. Most time you will use only one-dimensional arrays and two-dimensional arrays. Rarely three-dimensional arrays, but it means the same thing. We have got right now 2 containers that will be able to store 3 containers, and that 3 containers will be able to store a container that will be able to have 2 values, right? So it's this array of array of array. Okay, that's all in this lesson. Thank you very much.